Now, every good campaign needs a good campaign manager. And one person who's already familiar to you from the Police and Crime Commissioner elections and from the County Council elections last year and all through this campaign is Rob Burberry, who's done this role for us. Now, we picked him back in November to be the campaign manager for the South East of England European elections. And I remember saying to him at the time when we signed him up for it, I said, well, Rob, we'll see you through to the South East Conference as well, and you can organise that. It won't take long, you know. You'll have already been involved doing the campaign and everything. It's just a couple more weeks at the end. But until the 7th of June, we own your soul. And at midnight tonight, he gets it back again. So, in a spirit of celebration, therefore, Rob Burberry.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I've never been wolf whistle before. That was an experience. Looking at the programme, it says that I need to speak about the European election results. Well, I'm delighted to say that I'm not going to do that in great detail. This afternoon, we have a presentation whereby, for the geeks among you, we'll have a map of the South East region, and it's shaded purple, or not, depending on how heavy our vote was. So there are some constituencies where the map is deeply purple, some it's sort of a pale sort of violet. But we're doing very, very well. So Parliament, it's an indicator for the parliamentary elections next year. So I'm not going to go into great detail about European election results, because you'll see that this afternoon. So that then gives me a bit of a dilemma, because the conference programme says that I'm going to speak about the European election results. So I've given some thought as to how I can really summarise it succinctly and whilst reflecting on the huge success of going from 1 to 4 MEPs in the South East of England. And I think it can be summed up simply like this. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Oh yes, excellent. I was saying to Diane James not too much during the campaign. I didn't want to suggest that she was a dead cert, shall we say, at getting elected. Given that the campaign was on my shoulders, I didn't particularly want to guarantee anyone being elected. But I have to say that had I not got Ray elected in the 4th position, I would have probably been a little bit disappointed. So I'm delighted with the campaign. It wasn't cheap. These things aren't, are they? You probably recognise this, that this was our national election address during the campaign. It was actually, rather than just a leaflet, we went one better and created this booklet where you see all our South East candidates, poster, which of course you all put up, didn't you? I mean, maybe it's worth spending the money with it. And then some policies, and a final call to action on the back. The thing is, to cover over 4 million homes in the South East of England, to do that, it cost us £60,000. I'm actually being polite because it's over that. £60,000. So, with thanks to our members at Eastbourne, I dispatched one of them earlier to buy some crab buckets. Seriously, we've got them back in the foyer. So when we leave, we're going to be shaking the crab buckets at you. There'll be no crabs in them, but hopefully there'll be some paper money, if you don't mind, because it does rather cost a lot. Now, Nigel called me this morning. He's got a busy summer now because we've, of course, had a very successful election. We've now got double the MEPs we had. We have the most MEPs out of any United Kingdom political party, which is fantastic. But that means now, at least now, he's got a team, a big team, to draw talent from, and so, of course, he'll be working on that over the summer. Now, what he and I were discussing this morning is what members, branches, activists, you can do for the party in the coming months. And he said to me this morning, membership and fundraising. I've already touched on the fundraising side of things because, the campaign doesn't just happen out of thin air. Everything costs money, and it's painful writing the cheques, unless we win, which we did. So membership and fundraising, we need to expand Nigel's People's Army, ultimately. There are people that are coming on board. Month by month, our members are increasing. 38,000 I'm hearing now. When the party I joined, it was just a mere 14,000, 15,000. It's not the UKIP of 2 years ago, that's for sure. So, step one. This is what you are going to do, isn't it? I hate being like that. I can be nice and be nice again. So we've got a leaflet because we've been saying please to the electorate. We've been saying please vote for us. So we now have a leaflet for you. Yes, you are going to deliver another leaflet. I know it's Eastbourne and holiday and that, but you don't think we were going to just give you a holiday after election, surely. So we've got this. It's the next leaflet, national leaflet. No, it's not free, but there's no such thing as a free lunch. So we're saying thank you to the electorate for giving us that fantastic result. Picture of Nigel there at the polling station saying thanks for your support from UKIP and Nigel Farage. And then on the other side of it, there's a picture of our 4 South East MEP candidates on the night of celebration in Southampton. Our challenge in 2015, change British politics for good. I won't read the leaflet out to you, you'll be able to see it. This artwork's ready to go. And you'll notice when we have coffee later on, just through that curtain into the Congress Suite, tea and coffee is available in there, as well as our exhibitors. One of our exhibitors is called Print Bridge, a print company that we use quite a lot. This artwork's ready to go. Go and see Pete in the coffee break and order some leaflets for your branch. Because as much as it's important to say please vote for us, it's also important to say thank you. This is what my mother taught me anyway. Good manners, you see. So we need to do good manners. We need to thank you for the election. Now, as Roger said just a moment ago, I think I need to go see my doctor because this is not the only election that I've managed. I started off with the Police and Crime Commissioner election a few years ago. I then managed the National County Council campaign last year and then on to this. And going back to the Police and Crime Commissioner election, the reason why the party chose me for that is because I have a history in a background in policing anyway. I joined Surrey Police in 1996 as a special constable, less respectfully known as called a hobby bobby, but due to the police's increasing reliance on people who give up their Friday nights for free, that term is being less used nowadays. So during my time there, 7.5 years with Surrey Police, I was awarded 2 commendations and a Golden Jubilee medal for my service. Then I was about 18 months away from a nice red, white and black long service and good conduct medal. And I thought, this is ridiculous. If I love it this much, I'm doing it for free, I might as well join. So I did, but the London waiting drew me into Village Transport Police, and I worked on their response team in central London. But throughout my time in Surrey, the one constant from 1996 to 2003 was just constant cuts, with less and less police officers being available, and now we have a situation where police stations are being closed, and the borough where I used to work, which is actually the borough where Diane James is the councillor, has scant police compared to when I joined the Surrey Police in 1996. It's therefore a great pride and honour to introduce to you somebody who's been an officer in the Army Reserve for 40 years, has conducted 2 tours of Iraq and wrote the strategic policing plan for Iraq, has been a senior police officer for 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the Independent Police and Crime Commissioner for Surrey, Kevin Hurley.
Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the invitation to speak to your conference today. It would be remiss of me not to mark this for what is in fact in political terms a quietly historic moment. It is the first time that a Police and Crime Commissioner has addressed a party conference. Indeed, it is doubly interesting that it is an independent Police and Crime Commissioner speaking to one of the new emerging forces in politics. It is, frankly, a bit of a statement that the public's view on politics is changing, that I'm here and you're here. I want to talk to you about my role as a Police and Crime Commissioner. And I also want to tell you about what you can do to help me and colleagues like me up and down the country deliver on it. My primary role as a Police and Crime Commissioner is to keep the public in my county safer. And I do that by, of course, working with the police, working with the borough and district councils, working with the Crown Prosecution Service, the court service, probation, prison et al. To make it better. But I've got one major problem and I need your help with it. And I'll talk about that later. My 40 years as a reservist with the Army enabled me to understand how the military go about war fighting, doing what they do. And they talk about the various components they need for fighting for delivery. They need equipment, they need training, they need the tactics, strategy, and most of all, they need what they call the moral component for delivery. What is the moral component? It's heart, it's morale, it's will to deliver, will to get it done, to go forward in the face of adversity. That's why our young servicemen and women have done so well against all the odds recently in Iraq and Afghanistan. The moral component. Turning then to my learning from being a police officer and my experiences now as a Police and Crime Commissioner. The police every day are themselves in a slow-burning conflict, if you like, a small, slow war. Every day they go out, generally alone, to deal with violent bullies, criminals, thieves, thugs, antisocial elements, and they generally do it on their own. Now, I could talk to you about equipment and how the 28 police stations I once had in Surrey have been cut to just 3. I could talk to you about numbers and how the 16,000 police officers who were once brought into London to quell the riots of 2 years ago have been cut off the books. But I won't. I'll talk to you about the moral component for police officers. What makes them go out there and do the right thing for us? Why is it that last week 2 police officers on patrol heard a call of someone driving a car drunk, high speed, on the wrong side of a 3-lane motorway? Why is it they got in their car and drove head-on into that oncoming vehicle to save the public behind them? They put their blood and bone in front of the other members of the public. Why is it only 2 days ago in Surrey, 2 young police officers spent 12 minutes giving CPR to a 2-year-old child victim of a motorway accident and saved their lives? It's because it's in their heart, it's in their soul, it's the moral component. One wonders sometimes why the police get kicked and knocked so often, but we'll talk about that later. Just how are our police in this country doing? Sir Robert Peel, the founder of modern policing as we know it throughout the world, said, "The primary object of an efficient police is the prevention of crime. The next, the detection and arrest of offenders. By these efforts alone, police will be judged. The prevention of crime, the detection and arrest of offenders." So just what are our police doing for us at the moment? Well, prevention of crime. Crime has fallen year on year, regardless of what government has been in power. Murder is down, robbery is down, burglary is down, assaults are down. Crime is falling. Crime is being prevented. What about the arrest and detection of offenders? Well, we imprison more people in this country than any other country in Europe. And do you know what? The prisons are full. And it wasn't the RSPCA who put them there. It was the police. So if the prisons are full and crime's falling, They can't be all that bad, can they? So why is it I am confronted with my biggest problem, which is the maintenance of the morale and motivation of the police workforce? Why is it the people who are giving me the biggest problem are people up in Westminster who continually criticise and carp about the police? Why is it that historical examples of police failings, and yes there are, historical examples of police failings from the past, some so old they're almost archaeological, are regularly rolled out in a continual litany of why the police are so bad? What's behind it? Is it helping? I can tell you no. If we want a police officer to go out of one of our few police stations and look for criminals and confront wrongdoing, then we've got to back and support them. We can't tell them, stop doing stop and search, and if you get it wrong you'll be sacked, because that's what they believe at the moment. I want my police officers in my county to go out there and stop and search anyone they suspect is a known offender. I don't want them looking over their shoulder and wondering if they're going to be called to account and sacked because they may or may not have got it wrong. At the moment, there is a slow, insidious wasting away of the commitment and discretionary goodwill of our police service. Being no doubt about it, I come from a family of 9 police officers and I know what they say and I know what goes on. They are far from perfect, but frankly, we just heard they're not that bad. You do not get a loyal dog to go out and protect you against the wolf by kicking and beating it all the time. Enough is enough. If I ask you, as a group of people, to do one thing for me, go out there and stop all this carping about the police and criticising them. The next... They are, frankly, all we've got. Take one thing away from this, if you would, for me, please. The next police officer you see walking down the road or you come into contact, do one thing. Say this: thank you, officer, for what you're doing for us. We appreciate it.